I'd say one of the biggest, if not the biggest issue that entrepreneurs run into is not whether or not they have a good idea, is not if they have a good support system. In fact, it's not even if there's a market for what they're selling or the services that they're providing. The biggest issue that I've seen entrepreneurs run into is having enough capital to start a business, keep a business going, let alone keep it afloat, and get a business to that next level, that next income bracket into a scale type of format. I bring that up because I'm tired of seeing entrepreneurs fall flat on their faces because they don't have enough income, even though they have the right ideas and they have the right intentions. So in this video, I'm going to break down a key way that you can obtain business funding by using your personal credit and get it at a 0% interest. That's right, you're going to get 0% interest on the funding that you get for anywhere between 12 to 18 months, depending on how you structure it. Now, I want you to think to yourself, what would $20,000 in funding do? What would $50,000 in funding do? What would $100,000 in funding do? Would that, and be honest with yourself, would that change your situation and the way that you're currently running your business? Now, I can't answer that for you, only you can. Now, this question right here comes up quite a bit, and it's kind of like an interchangeable way of asking the same question. So I'll give it to you and you'll see what I mean. The first one is, Irv, how long does my LLC need to be open before I can get business funding? And then the other question is, can I get business funding if I just opened up my LLC? Which is, again, kind of like asking the same question, but in a different way. And the answer to that is you can get business funding with a brand new LLC like yesterday. I'll give you an example. I had a good friend of mine that had just opened up an LLC in the beginning of October 2nd to be exact. He opened up that LLC October 2nd. October 3rd, he was able to get up to $65,000 in funding, which is how I'm going to show you how exactly he did it in this video. Now, if you're thinking, okay, he must have had another business that he was running. The answer to that is no. He must have came in with a lot of capital to show the bank. The answer to that is no, because this goes off of stated income. Stated income is totally different from having to use your tax returns. I'm going to give you the first thing that you need here, because if you don't have this, then the rest of the video becomes irrelevant, and I don't want to drag you along, because this is going to allow you to work on this first and then come back to this video. So if you don't have it, save the video and then come back to it. Or if you want to finish watching it so that you at least know what you need, go ahead and do so. And the first thing is you need to have at least a 680 personal credit score. Now, I have seen banks, especially if it gets tighter the way that it possibly did last year, when banks started kind of under a bit more strict, then you could see that creep into the 710. But overall, good rule of thumb is 680 just to get the conversation going is what your personal credit score needs to be. Now, I know what you're probably going to ask, and the answer to that is going to be yes. This is going to be a personally guaranteed type of funding. Now, one thing that I'm going to say before I give you the next step and the next pretty much piece of information that you should know is that never shy away from personally guaranteeing something just because you hear everyone say, well, you can get business lines of credit without personally guaranteeing it, or you can get credit with only using your EIN or your social. Yes, I teach that. You've been on my channel. I have a full-blown masterclass on that. I teach that to some of my students. But one thing that I always say is that you never want to shy away from getting funding if it means your business going out of business, right? So rather than me having to wait 6, possibly 7 or 8 months in order for me to get business funding through my EIN without having to use my social security number, because that is a process to build up, you still want to use your personal credit to personally guarantee something, especially if you're someone like me and you are someone that's going into business with the mindset of this is all or nothing. This is going to work. I have my strategy in place. I don't mind personally guaranteeing something because I know what it takes for me to get this business off of the ground, and I know not to over leverage myself. So even if I get access to $30,000 worth of funding, right now I may only need $3,000 for these specific products, or maybe to hire out some type of help or get some type of service going, right? So you do want to kind of keep that in mind as you're applying for some of this funding. I say that because no one wants to go into business thinking, oh my gosh, what if I get all this funding if I fail, right? You want to know how much of a risk tolerance you have. That's just a little side note that I want to give you. The second thing that you need to know is that this is going to go off of stated income, meaning you do not need to have, or you don't need to show proof of tax returns. This is why my friend that was able to obtain funding with an LLC that was about 2 years old, about 2 days old, he doesn't have any tax returns to show because it's a brand new startup. So he had the 680 plus credit score. He went off of stated income, which means he was able to show proof of how much he makes at his job right now, or off of another business. Or if you wanted to take it even a step further, depending on the type of credit line that you're applying for, if you go off of stated income, you can even go off of what you project to make, which is going to be more of a projected revenue type of product. If you have $20,000, $50,000, maybe even $60,000 worth of funding, kind of like what we mentioned earlier of how that would impact your business, would it really matter if you personally guaranteed it going forward of the impact that that would have in your business and the potential income that you would be leaving on the table if you said no? The amount that you qualify for is anywhere between $20,000 to $200,000. You heard that correctly. $20,000 to $200,000. And it is going to be a revolving line of credit, which means that it's going to be multiple lines of credit reporting onto your file. Now, one thing that's cool about this is that if you have an LLC, then you know that the LLC, what you get approved for, doesn't reflect on your personal credit. So you can, let's say if you have $100,000 worth of funding and you run up $80,000, since those lines of credit were opened up through your LLC, that utilization is not going to impact your personal credit. So if you're still going out to purchase a home, if you're still going out to buy a car, that's not going to affect your DTI. Now, if you're wondering what more so your credit profile needs to look like, again, you can schedule a consultation. But so that you know and understand, and maybe if you want to get this ready before you hop on a call with us, is you need to have at least 2 years of credit history, which means you need to have some type of credit cards already reporting to your personal credit. You can't have more than, I'd say, a 20% credit utilization. We may be able to use 30% utilization or less. Anything more than that, you're just going to want to pay that down as much as you can. And then you can't have more than, I'd say, 5, possibly 6 hard inquiries on your credit report in the last 6 months. And of course, like anything else, you can't have any late payments in the last 12 months. And you want to have your credit file clean, which means no collections, no bankruptcies, and no charge-offs in the last 12 months as well. But now if you still wanted to get on a call with my team, because we're able to direct you and possibly help point you in the right direction of what you need to kind of help you set up your file in the next couple of weeks to months, you can go ahead and do so. I'll go ahead and leave the link down in the description. If you found value in this content, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Join the official community. Don't forget that anytime I'm not posting on here, I'm posting over on the Inside with Irv show, which is my podcast out channel. So if you like what we have going on over here, you'll love what we have going on over there. Once again, I appreciate you guys checking me out. Till next time, everyone, I will see you in the next video.